You just dropped a chunk of change on an oil change. Walked out of the shop all proud, thinking you did the right thing. And on the way home, the car starts making a weird little noise. Coincidence? No, my friend. No coincidence at all. The truth that nobody tells you is that a huge number of catastrophic engine failures start right after a botched oil change. That's right! You heard me! That basic maintenance that everyone thinks is simple could be slowly destroying your engine. No smoke, no dashboard light, no warning at all. Just silent wear eating away at the engine from the inside while you drive in happy as a clam without noticing a thing. And the worst part is that these oil change mistakes happen every single day at big shops, small shops, and even when you do it yourself. There are 9 things that seem like no big deal, but will turn your oil change into an expensive nightmare. And at the end, I'm going to give you a bonus that even drivers with decades of road experience tend to ignore, but that can save your engine from serious damage. Before we continue, if you want to master every detail of your car's maintenance and stop getting ripped off by shady mechanics, subscribe to the channel now and hit the bell. Leave a like because this content could save you from thousands of dollars in damage. Thanks a lot. Now let's go straight to mistake number 9. One that seems impossible to happen, but is actually super common. The ghost gasket disaster. Check out this cruel trap. You're changing the oil, you remove the old filter with confidence, toss it in the trash, and move on to installing the new one. Everything's good. Everything's by the book. But there's one detail you didn't see. The rubber gasket from the old filter stuck there on the engine block. Quiet as can be, waiting to ruin your day. Then you pop on the new filter, which already comes with its own gasket, and boom, now you've got 2 gaskets stacked on top of each other trying to do the job of one. And guess what happens? They don't seal anything. First, come a few drops on the garage floor. You didn't think it's weird, but figure it's just leftover old oil dripping. Normal stuff. The next day, the drops turned into a puddle. On the 3rd day, you notice the oil level is dropping fast, and if you're one of those stubborn types who keeps driving like that, my brother, get your wallet ready because the engine's going to lose oil pressure, lose lubrication, and then it's just a matter of time before it becomes scrap metal. The solution to this mistake is so simple, it's almost maddening when it happens. Every time you remove the old filter, run your hand over the mounting surface on the block. Feel anything rubbery there? Then yank it off before installing the new one. It's literally 5 seconds that make the difference between a job well done and an oil leak that can blow the engine. Tell me in the comments if you've ever been a victim of this classic mistake. And if you're thinking that was the only sneaky detail, hold on, because mistake number 8 catches even the most experienced guys. Draining oil with a cold engine. Lots of people get home, park the car after driving all night. Wait for it to cool down because they're afraid of getting burned, and then go ahead and drain all the oil. Sounds almost logical, right? Wrong. Draining oil from a cold engine is throwing money away and leaving old crud in there waiting to contaminate the new oil. Let me explain what happens. Cold oil is dense, thick, sluggish. It sticks to the engine walls, hangs out in the corners, refuses to flow properly. When you open the drain plug with a cold engine, a considerable amount of that dirty oil stays inside. Then you put in new oil thinking everything's clean, but really you're just mixing virgin oil with the old crap that stayed stuck. What's the point of spending money on new oil if you're going to contaminate it right off the bat? The right way to do it is simple, but lots of people ignore it. Start the engine and let it run for a few minutes, just until the oil gets warm. Doesn't need to boil or anything. With warm oil, it becomes liquid, flows easily, and takes along all that dirt and metallic residue that was built up. The difference in color of the oil that comes out is huge. Cold-drained oil comes out kind of opaque, kind of sluggish. Warm drained oil flows beautifully and really carries all the dirt out. Heat it up first, drain it after. Seems picky, but it's not. It's the difference between an oil change that actually cleans the system and an oil change that just wastes money. Go ahead and leave your like if you're learning stuff nobody else teaches. And look, if you thought draining cold was already a big screw up, wait until you hear about mistake number 7, the lying dipstick disaster. Some people believe that more oil is better. After all, if low oil is dangerous, more oil is extra protection, right? Completely wrong, my friend. Putting oil beyond the maximum mark on the dipstick is one of the most efficient ways to blow up an engine without realizing it. And the worst part is, lots of people do this thinking they're being careful. When you overfill, the crankshaft spinning down below starts hitting the excess oil. And you know what happens? When a crankshaft hits oil? Foam, like a blender beating milk. And foamy oil doesn't lubricate anything. You can have the oil pan filled to overflowing, but the critical engine parts are going to be working dry. Piston scraping, bearings, suffering, everything wearing out fast, even with the dipstick showing full. And there's more. Excess oil creates pressure where there shouldn't be any. Seals start leaking. Gaskets blow. Oil shows up in places where there shouldn't even be oil, all because you wanted to be extra careful. The rule is clear, and there's no negotiation. Add oil slowly, check the dipstick between each addition, and stop when you hit the maximum mark. Never exceed it. Never! And pay attention to another detail lots of people forget. The car has to be on level ground when checking the dipstick. If it's on an incline or decline, the reading will be wrong, and you'll end up putting too much or too little oil without knowing it. 5 minutes of attention prevents weeks of headaches and thousands of dollars in repairs. Tell me in the comments if you've ever seen someone pour in oil thinking they were doing the car a favor. And since we're talking about attention to detail, here comes mistake number 6 that gets all the folks who are in a hurry. Not checking the level after starting. People finish adding the oil, close everything up, put away the tools, clean up the mess, and already start celebrating. Job done, let's hit the road. But there's a serious problem with all that rush. You forgot that the new filter was empty. When you start the engine for the first time after the change, some of that oil you just put in is going to circulate and fill the filter. And an oil filter isn't small. It holds a decent amount of oil in there. Result: the level that was just right on the dipstick is now below ideal. And you, all happy, drive off with the engine somewhat undersupplied without the slightest clue. The post-start check is mandatory, my brother. Start the engine, let it run for a minute, shut it off, wait for the oil to settle in the pan again, and only then check the dipstick. If you need to top it off, top it off. This second check also serves another important purpose. This is when leaks decide to show up. Drain plug that was left a bit loose, filter that didn't seat right, that ghost gasket that was hiding. All of this only shows its face when the engine is running and the oil is circulating under pressure. 2 minutes of attention can save you from being stranded in the middle of the road with the engine smoking. And believe me, I've seen so many stories of people who left the oil change and didn't even make it to the end of the block. All from skipping this basic step. Share this video with that friend who's always getting into trouble with their car. And brace yourself, because mistake number 5 is one of those that makes the mechanic laugh in your face. The dry start. Check out this interesting situation. You buy a brand new oil filter, take it out of the box, and it's completely dry inside. Makes sense. It's new. Just came from the factory. Then you screw it under the engine, start it up, and sit there waiting for the oil to arrive. But in those first few seconds, while the oil is filling the filter and pressurizing the system, the engine is running practically dry. Parts are rubbing with minimal lubrication, crying out for help. This doesn't kill the engine the first time, but repeat this every year at oil change time, 4, 5, 10, 15 years, and you're shortening the engine's life without realizing it. It's cumulative wear. Invisible. Silent. When you least expect it, the engine starts knocking, losing compression, burning oil. And it all started way back in those dry starts you thought were normal. The solution is so simple it almost hurts. Before installing the new filter, when it allows pre-filling, put a little clean oil inside. You don't need to fill it to the brim, just enough to wet the filter element and guarantee that on the first start, there's already oil really circulating. Then run a bit of oil on the filter's sealing gasket. That way it slides better when tightening and seals properly without forcing it. Is it a bit more work? Yes. Can it get your hands dirty? Gung. But compared to the cost of an engine rebuild or having a trade in the car early, it's the best investment you can make. Leave in the comments if you've always done this or if you just discovered you've been doing it wrong your whole life. And there's one more detail that goes hand in hand with this mistake. It's number 4, and almost nobody pays attention to it. The dried gasket nobody lubricates. The filter's sealing gasket is made of rubber, and dry rubber rubbing against metal doesn't work out. When you tighten a filter with a dry gasket, several bad things can happen. The gasket can twist, tear, or even crack without you seeing it. At the moment, everything seems fine, but as soon as the engine heats up a little, that curse strip starts. And you know what's worse? Lots of people tighten the filter with brute force precisely because the gasket is dry and sticks. So they force until the filter seems to be secure. But to secure isn't a good sign. When the next oil change comes around, you're going to sweat trying to remove that filter. It's so stuck on, and there's a risk of messing up the block's threads in the process. The smart move is to wet the gasket with clean oil before installing. Dip your finger in the new oil and spread it all around the gasket. This creates a protective film that lets the filter slide smoothly, seat perfectly, and seal without needing gorilla strength. And there's another step most people forget. Before putting on the new filter, thoroughly clean the surface of the block where it's going to rest. Any grain of dirt, any old oil residue, any irregularity there, and you've already got a guaranteed leak. Oil on the gasket, clean surface, proper tightening. That's the holy trinity of filter installation. And since we've touched on the subject of over-tightening, it's time for mistake number 3, the terror of threads. The Incredible Hulk drain plug. This one's a classic. The guy finishes draining the oil, puts the drain plug back in, and applies so much force it seems like he's trying to rip the threads into another dimension. The flawed logic is always the same. The tighter it is, the more secure. The more secure, less chance of leaking. But reality is quite different. Over-tightening the oil pan drain plug is the fastest way to strip the threads and turn a simple oil change into an engine repair. Oil pans are normally made of aluminum. Aluminum is a soft metal. The drain plug is made of steel. Steel is a hard metal. When you tighten with excessive force, the steel plug starts deforming the aluminum threads in the pan. It starts with micro deformations you can't even see. Then the threads start widening, stripping, losing the ability to hold, and when you least expect it, the plug simply won't stay tight anymore. Then either you install a helicoil, replace the entire oil pan, or become dependent on oversized plugs. And there are even worse cases. I've seen people tighten with so much force they broke the plug in half. Half stayed inside, threaded in the pan. Impossible to remove without drilling, without using an extractor, without making a huge mess. Others force it so hard they crack the pan itself. Then there's no way around it. Either weld it or replace it. And a new oil pan isn't cheap. Depending on the car, you can easily spend over $1,000 just on the part. The smart way to tighten the drain plug is using a torque wrench. Normally, the recommended torque is between 20 and 30 foot-pounds. But always check what's specified for your car model, because it varies. If you don't have a torque wrench, go with the common sense rule. Tighten until the plug makes contact and the washer starts to compress. Then give just a slight quarter-turn complement and stop. What does the sealant is the crush washer, not brute force on the plug. And speaking of washers, replace it every time. The crush washer is disposable. Don't reuse it. It deforms the first time it's tightened and loses the ability to seal properly. A washer costs pennies. An oil leak costs dollars. Do the math. Tell me in the comments how many times you've seen a mechanic reuse an old washer to save cents and cause a leak worth dollars. Now comes mistake number 2, and this one is the absolute champion of ruining engines without mercy. The wrong oil, nobody checks. Lots of people think oil's all the same. They buy the cheapest one on the shelf, pour it in, and boom, problem solved. But the reality is that each engine was designed to work with a specific type of oil, wrong viscosity, wrong additives, wrong specification, and you're slowly destroying the engine. Oil thicker than recommended makes circulation difficult, especially on cold starts. The engine works harder to pump it, burns more fuel, takes longer to lubricate the critical parts. Oil thinner than indicated can't handle the working pressure and temperature. It loses viscosity when it heats up and leaves parts practically without protection. Piston rubbing on the cylinder, bearings taking pressure without adequate oil film, accelerated wear on everything. And in modern engines, the margin for error is 0. Many were developed to run on pure synthetics, full of specific additives, to handle the insane pressures of high-performance turbo engines. If you stick cheap conventional oil in there, you can bet things are going to fall apart fast. Seized turbo, stretched timing chain, worn, and there's more. Using oil outside specification can void the factory warranty. Then you lose twice. The information you need is in the owner's manual, that little book everyone throws in the glove box and forgets exists. Inside it says exactly what viscosity grade, what specification, and what type of oil the manufacturer recommends for your engine. 5W30, 0W25, W40, synthetic, semi-synthetic, conventional. It's all there, spelled out. And be careful where you buy. The market is infested with counterfeit oil. That miracle deal you saw online might be a jug of garbage oil that's going to destroy your engine. Buy from a serious store. authorized, that gives you a receipt. It might cost a bit more, but at least you have a guarantee you're putting legitimate product in there. Fake oil doesn't lubricate right, doesn't protect right, and might have any crap mixed in. It's dumb savings that costs more in the end. Share this video with the folks in the WhatsApp group who are into cars. This kind of information saves engines and wallets for lots of people. And now we've reached mistake number 1, the most ignored of all, and one that causes silent damage. The stubbornness of ignoring the dashboard, that maintenance light that comes on the dashboard warning that's time to change the oil. Well, lots of people see that and think it's just a suggestion that they can push it a little further, that the car can handle it. Fatal mistake. Modern cars monitor a ton of parameters. Engine temperature, driving style, workload. All of this goes into the calculation of when the oil needs to be changed. When that warning appears on the dashboard, it's not a guess, it's math. The system is telling you that the oil has reached the limit of its ability to protect the engine. Continuing to drive, ignoring this warning, is forcing the engine to work with degraded oil, full of metallic residue, with additives already spent, unable to do its job properly. It's like trying to run a marathon eating only saltine crackers. You might make it, but you shouldn't. And there's an aggravating factor a few people know about. In many modern models, when you ignore the oil change warning, the system records this in the car's memory. When you go to sell the car, the smart buyer is going to run a scanner, see the whole history of delayed maintenance, and use that to lower the price or simply walk away from the purchase. You lose money twice, once from engine wear, another from depreciation on resale. Respect the dashboard warning. It's not the manufacturer being fussy, trying to make you spend money. It's the car trying to protect itself and protect you from bigger damage. Change the oil when the system tells you to reset the indicator the right way and keep the maintenance cycle on schedule. Your engine thanks you, your wallet thanks you, and the next owner of the car will also thank you when they see that you took proper care of it. And now comes the bonus I promised at the beginning. This one is as important as all the other mistakes combined, but almost nobody does it. The mandatory post-change rest. You finished changing the oil, closed everything, checked everything, everything's perfect. Then you start it up and immediately take off accelerating because you're late, because you're in a hurry, because you think it doesn't make a difference. It makes a difference, and a big one. When you start the engine after the change, the new oil needs a few seconds to circulate through the whole system and pressurize the internal passages. If you take off accelerating immediately, several parts are still running without adequate lubrication. Camshaft working half dry, lifters knocking without enough oil film, turbo spinning without ideal pressure. It's just a few seconds of being unprotected. But repeat this. Every time you change the oil and you're shortening the life of everything. The prevention is ridiculously simple. After changing the oil, start the engine and let it work at idle, parked, for 30 to 60 seconds. In that time, the filter fills, the oil passages pressurize, and all the parts receive the lubrication they need before starting to really work. It's a small pause, but with gigantic impact on engine durability. 30 seconds of patience can mean years more of engine life. And look, I'm not even exaggerating. Well-maintained engines easily pass 300,000 miles without serious problems. Mistreated engines start showing signs of fatigue at 60,000, 90,000 miles. The difference between one and the other is often in these small details everyone ignores. And that's it, folks. 9 classic oil change mistakes that can compromise the engine before you notice the damage, plus the bonus of the calm start that few people do. Which of these mistakes have you committed without knowing? Which have you seen happening at a shop? Leave it here in the comments because your experience can help other drivers avoid falling into the same trap. If this video opened your eyes to something you didn't know, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell so you don't miss the next content. And now, go watch the next video where I compare all the oil brands on the American market, show which ones are worth it and which are ripoffs, and teach you how to identify counterfeit oil before putting it in your car. Thanks for watching. See ya next time.